Well, good morning, Southeast Texas. Another hot, humid morning across the area under mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies. We'll start out with our sky cams. This morning, we'll start out in Jasper, sponsored by Provalis. A few clouds up there, and your chances of rain today are pretty slim. We're talking a 10% coverage or less across east and southeast Texas this afternoon. Some drier air is worked in the low and mid levels of the atmosphere, but we can't rule out one, maybe two small showers popping up the heat of the afternoon. Our Roofing 911 Skycam network outside our 12 studios, sponsored by Mid-County Plumbing. Partly cloudy skies across the area this afternoon, and some of these cumulus clouds will continue to rise a little bit into a few isolated showers, maybe a thunderstorm this afternoon, but a much less coverage than what we've seen over the last few days. 10% or less coming up for the rest of the afternoon. The heat's going to be the main weather story. We're talking mid 90s for highs coming up, 94, 95, especially up in the lakes area. Not a lot of wind across southeast Texas this afternoon, so very warm. And over in Lake Charles, they have a few more high clouds there. That's some of the upper level moisture coming in from the east. Of course, we'll show you all that on satellite in just a moment. Some cirrus clouds there with the cumulus clouds over in Lake Charles. Their rain chances pretty slim too. I think tomorrow is going to be dry as well. Most of the day tomorrow hot and dry as we head toward dark. From this general direction from the east, some scattered showers, maybe a few thunderstorms beginning to come on in from the east. We'll give that a 30% coverage toward dark coming up late in the day tomorrow. Cirrus clouds off to the east. We'll show you that coming up in just a moment on satellite, but a very warm morning, that's for sure. So if you're heading out this afternoon, drink plenty of fluids as well. And over in Orange, our Roofing 911 Skycam network, sponsored by the Horseman's Western Store, partly sunny as well over in Orange. See some of the high clouds beginning to work in from the east across portions of Louisiana this morning. 92. It's going to be a hot afternoon, looking like middle 90s most areas. Allergy report looking pretty good, especially the tree, the grass. The weeds not too bad. The mold still a little bit elevated. That's due to all the scattered showers and storms we've seen over the last, well, it seems like week. Because we haven't had the lack of high pressure, that's for sure, across the region. Now, temperatures already pretty hot. Already close to 90 in the Houston area, 89 degrees, 88 in Huntsville, 87 in Beaumont, 87 in Lake Charles. Radar's quiet. We expect it to remain that way. Maybe an isolated shower or two coming up this afternoon, but with drier air at 5,000 and 10,000 feet today, the coverage is 10% or less. Nothing on radar this morning. Kind of zooming in, see if there's anything maybe missing there. Nope, pretty quiet, even across southern Jefferson County. All right, satellite view. Let's take a look. See the high clouds kind of coming in from the east. That's the cirrus clouds we showed you on our camera from Orange and Lake Charles. The actual tropical disturbance, which is poorly organized, well off to our east. The actual center of low pressure, which there's no thunderstorms or convection around it, is actually located just to the southwest of Panama City or just west of Tallahassee, basically over land or pretty much on the coast. Kind of zoom out a little bit more, kind of give you a view. Most of the thunderstorm activity is well away from the actual center. Now, I doubt sometimes you can get a center reform in the mid-levels of the atmosphere off to the southwest of the surface low, but this system is taking a lot of shear. That combined with pretty much along the coast or proximity to land, it's beginning to look like this thing may not even develop now as it works to the west. There's still a slight chance it could before landfall in southeast Louisiana coming up for tomorrow night as it continues on off to the west. The center right in that area right there, just to the west or just to the left of the letter P in Panama City there. So very disorganized, but bottom line is moisture will gradually work this way. And it looks like our wettest day will be Friday. We'll keep that rain coverage at 70% for Friday and then beginning to slowly dry out now on Saturday as the system moves into southeast Louisiana, starts moving northwest and eventually back on off to the north. And you can see Florida's in the clear now. They're in pretty good shape as the disturbance continues to work on off to the west very slowly. And there's the circulation right and pretty much absent free of convection just to the southwest of Panama City working to the west. Should see the system move in, as we said, tomorrow night across portions of southeastern Louisiana. But notice how Florida has cleared out nicely. Just a few scattered showers there on the west coast of Florida. Kind of another look there. You see the center right in here, nothing around that, very disorganized, taking a lot of wind shear still. That with its proximity to land, keeping it really from developing. And most of the thunderstorms east and southeast of New Orleans, well away from what low-level center there is. So looking doubtful this will develop, so that's good news for the folks of Louisiana. And even if it does, we're looking at a tropical depression over there. That's great news for them as well. I don't see this as a wind event for southeastern Louisiana right now, mainly just a rain event. The Hurricane Center keeping that probability as of this morning. There'll be some more updates, of course, later this afternoon at 40% of this developing. See, there's the center right there, working on off to the west. Once again, should make landfall, as we said, tomorrow night in southeastern Louisiana, right around New Orleans, maybe just southwest of there. But a lot of moisture here. We've talked about that. All the moisture will be working to the west over the next couple of days, so we'll have a pretty good coverage of showers in our forecast on Friday. And then as we head into Saturday, that moisture will slowly begin working out. So I think as far as coverages go, our best chance of rain and coverage will be on Friday. Thinking 1 to 2 inches possible, maybe some isolated 3-inch totals. Of course, we'll have new data later this afternoon to look at, but that's the trend right now. In fact, some of the rainfall totals since yesterday on our rainfall total maps have actually decreased since yesterday, even for parts of south central Louisiana. Not just one model, but both have actually dropped on their rainfall totals for even, as I said, south central Louisiana. All right, atmospheric moisture, this is at 10,000 feet. We just don't have it today. It is dry aloft, that moisture at 34%, but also at 5,000 feet. We're drier compared to yesterday as well. So with that, only a 10% or less coverage of showers in the forecast. Now looking off to the east, there's where your moisture is at. Now this is coming up tonight at 7 from about Lafayette to New Orleans. Of course, the deepest tropical moisture still in the Florida Panhandle even tonight. So we'll roll this on a little bit longer. And then now this is a European model. We have another model we look at as well that's actually drier than this. Of course, maybe this afternoon we kind of compare them and see just to show you, but you see the moisture coming in from the east by tomorrow evening. Northeast flow aloft, so we'll give it a 30% coverage. Showers and storms after around 4 or 5 o'clock. Of course, the deepest moisture still to our east. And you see the low working on shore around New Orleans or just southwest of there. And our best moisture, as you see, is on Friday. Good chance of showers and thunderstorms. And you can see most of the energy is where whatever low there is, of course, very disorganized anyway, just to the west of New Orleans. And that'll continue on off to the northwest, turning north, which is good. So we'll have a 60 to 70% coverage, looks like, coming up on Friday. Notice as we head into Saturday, we start drying even as early as the early afternoon. In fact, by Sunday, very little, if anything, dry air and high pressure begins to rebuild across southeast Texas by late Saturday into Sunday and even into Monday. Early next week, looking hot and dry as well. All right, here's rainfall totals. Now this is from overnight models. We'll have new data, which won't be unfortunately until later this afternoon, but not expecting a huge change anyway. But notice how the rainfall totals between, let's say, late tomorrow, and of course we ran it out through Tuesday, but basically it'll be for late tomorrow into Saturday evening, gosh, under an inch across parts of the area. Some of the heavier rains will be from Lafayette eastward, and even over there the rain totals have dropped an inch or two, so that's good news for them. But there could always be some isolated heavier totals. You know, it's just going to all depend on the exact track of the moisture plume that comes in from the east over the course of, let's say, Friday mainly, and then early Saturday maybe, and then it starts drying out. So now that's just one model. Our other model we look at, which actually does a decent job with tropics, believe it or not, actually has less rainfall totals than this. So that's good. We're trending in the right direction. Now, futurecast. Rest of the afternoon, we can't rule out an isolated shower or thunderstorm. It's possible, but with drier air at 5 and 10,000 feet, it's going to be pretty limited on the coverage. 10% or less this afternoon, but 1 or 2 small ones may pop up. Now tonight, it looks quiet tonight. Mostly clear, but partly cloudy, some cirrus clouds coming in from the east. And it looks like most of tomorrow is going to be about like today, hot and dry. Thursday coming up. Notice not indicating any rain at all till maybe late in the day, especially in the Lake Charles area, Lafayette. So we'll give it a 20 to 30% coverage late tomorrow. And of course, as we head into Friday, we will have a much better chance as that moisture works to the west. Marine forecast for this afternoon, southwest winds 5 to 10 knots. That water temperature very warm, upper 80s, close to 90. Forecast the rest of the day. The main weather story is the heat. Hot this afternoon with highs in the mid 90s across the area. Very hot, and certainly not going to get a lot of help from the wind. Very light winds, that's for sure. Coming up this afternoon, 94, 95 for tonight. And I think clear early, then becoming partly cloudy. We'll have some, I think, high clouds kind of streaming in from the east. Very warm, mid to upper 70s overnight tonight, and no rain expected. All right, 7-day forecast this afternoon. Isolated shower or storm at best. The aerial coverage 10% or less. We'll go 30% for late in the day tomorrow, especially after around 4 or 5 o'clock, I think. And then we're going to keep that 70 for Friday. But looking at some new data, and of course we'll have a brand new 7-day forecast this afternoon at 4. Saturday could be a little bit drier. It could be 20, 30%, not out of the question yet. But we'll evaluate that and look at it again this afternoon. But 40% on Saturday, only a 20%, if that, now on Sunday. And then Sunday into next week, looking really hot and dry. High pressure is going to build in. Drier air is going to come in. So that'll really help us out. So we'll have a chance of some showers by late tomorrow. Our best chance on Friday, 70% coverage. And that'll help cool us down a little bit too. That'll be nice. Instead of the mid 90s, we'll drop to the upper 80s, especially on Friday due to scattered showers in the area and lots of clouds and then south winds there. But as we head into next week, here come the middle 90s again. That's right, mid 90s coming back as high pressure and drier air begins to build into southeast Texas. So of course we'll have another update, of course, later this afternoon, a stream at 6:30. Patrick will have that, but we'll also have a new forecast coming up at 4, 5, and 6 on our newscast too. See if these rain coverages change much. What we have now for especially Saturday looking drier, and don't see much of anything Sunday into next week. Let's check the phone, see if we've gotten any messages that have come in since we've been talking about the tropics a little bit. That's the good news. Not much development is expected with this system. No messages currently. We'll give it another minute or two. I think we got a minute left, but you can text us at 409-749-9302. If you have any questions or comments about the weekend forecast coming up, I think we'll see gradual drying beginning on Saturday, which is great news. And like I said, even with the rainfall on Friday, you know, it has 70% coverage in the forecast. We almost had that yesterday, and there was some areas that had over 2 inches of rain yesterday. So, you know, not a big deal there. I think we're okay as far as any flooding or anything like that. So that's good. Now the grounds are saturated, so we'll watch Friday. I think our best chance of, as we said, coverages will be on Friday, beginning to dry out Saturday morning, and not much rain at all expected Sunday into next week. And of course, we'll have another update on the disturbance coming up. But once again, I want to emphasize, because people were asking yesterday, there's no tropical